U gaan nou luister na die program Straight Talk met die United Independent Movement hier op Joy Radio, wat aangebied word deur professor Aubrey Burger en die sekretaris-generaal van die UIM, Jacques Dallaert, waar ons niks terughou nie wanneer ons reguit praat oor die huidige situasies in Suid-Afrika nie. You are now listening to the program Straight Talk with the United Independent Movement on Joy Radio, presented by Professor Aubrey Burger and the Secretary General Jacques Dallaert of the UIM, where we hold nothing back when talking straight about the current situation in South Africa. Almagtige God en Hemelse Vader, so het nog 'n week verby gegaan, waar U, Vader, elkeen van ons veilig hou het in die regterhand van beskerming en genade. Vader, U is ons rots en krag, met al die eer en glorie aan U, Vader, soos ons nou op hierdie program gaan begin om die kwessies en probleme binne hierdie pragtige land van Suid-Afrika wat U, Vader, geskep het, onder U leiding te bespreek. Ons dank U daarvoor in die naam van Christus Jesus. Amen. Yes, indeed, tonight we are going to start to raise a lot of hallelujahs. Welcome to Straight Talk. Myself, Aubrey, and of course, none other than my Secretary General of the United Independent Movement, Jacques Dallaert, begin het aan Pretoria. Nee, wat ons gaan aan, dit wat ons klaar ons nou nie. Veral nie as ons die is om die mense van hierdie land te dien en mee te gesels nie. Ja, geliefdes, soos jy almal bewus is, Sondag het gekom, Sondag het gegaan, die begrafnis is verby, en ja, maar die lewe gaan aan, En Jacques gaan vanaand vir ons ook so 'n bietjie inlig, 'n bietjie later, die pad vorentoe, nou van die United Independent Movement. Maar eers gaan ons bietjie gesels oor, of soos wat ons dit nou wil stel, soos ons dit van vanaand af genoem, ons gaan elke week, elke keer, gaan ons 2 cent gee. Yes, we're going to give you our 2 cents on the political matters in this country. What happened during the last week, since we've been on air, last week, Thursday, up till now, this currently, tonight. En ek dink die groot nuus, Jacques, vandag op hierdie stadium, in die nuus, en wat alles oorheers huidiglik, is die kommissie van ondersoek wat nou gister begin het, die Madlanga kommissie, hoor nou, ja, wat daar, die Madlanga kommissie wat nou gister daar begin het in Pretoria, en ja, ek weet, jy is ook in die regte, so jy behoort nog of ons lekker insigte kan gee, jou siening aangaande dit.
Wel, Prof, dis bietjie, ek moet sê, it's still early days. Ons is nou eers op dag 1. Ja, ons hoop hierdie volg nie dieselfde route as wat die Sonderkommissie gevolg het nie, want ons weet, daai was 'n absolute miskoes, as jy het so kan stel. So ons hoop regtig dat daar, ek weet nie of mense iets kon leer uit die Sonderkommissie uit nie, maar ek hoop daar dat dit wel die geval is en dat hulle nie dieselfde foute maak hierdie keer nie. Want ons praat hier so van mense se lewens wat op gespel is. Ons praat hier so van 'n regstelsel wat dreig om ineen te stort. Ons praat hier so van die credibility van ons polisiemag wat op hierdie stadium op die spel is. So hierdie ondersoek, hierdie kommissie van ondersoek is uiters belangrik en is uiters belangrik dat dat die ding reg hanteer word en dat daar die regte uitkoms is. Hoe sê hulle dat justice must wat C4 as ek dit so kan stel. So ons wag nou en kyk met groot inspanning om te kyk wat nou gebeur het. Ek bedoel toe generaal Mkhwanazi sy uitlatings gemaak het nou so dat hy terug hier die hele land reg op gesit. Groot skok en baie mense in partye het hulle opinies daaroor gehad. Party van die baie mense het en partye het hom geloof vir sy dapperheid en hom bedank dat hy bereid was om die waarheid te praat en uit te kom met die sak patats. Baie ander partye het hom nou weer afgeskiet en gesê dat hy self verskelm. So, dit is maar weer eens maar die twee kampe, jy weet, dis maar snaaks. Ek kan nie dink dat mense en partye in Suid-Afrika so kan verskil nie, dat hulle twee verskillende pole kan wees nie. Ek sou nogal dink dat die meeste van ons oor die algemeen oor 'n meerderheid van dinge sal saamstem en miskien sal verskil oor klein goedjies, maar daar's partye wat uiteenlopend verskil op verskeie punte en veral as dit kom by, jy weet, vra oor regte en politiek en daai tipe van goed, verskil ons baie. So daar was die wat gesê het, well done, generaal Mkhwanazi, en daar was die wat vir hom gesê het, jy's een slegte voorbeeld, jy skep 'n slegte voorbeeld en jy's self 'n krimineel. So, ons hou hierdie dop, ons sit elke dag en kyk en ja, ons wag net maar om te sien wat gebeur. Ek dink daar's baie dinge wat nou nog gaan uitkom, wat nie uitgekom het daai tyd nie. En dan kyk ons nou maar, kyk maar wat gebeur, prof, en dan sal ons teen daai tyd behoort ons, ek dink 'n beter opinie te kan formuleer rondom hierdie hele kommissie van ondersoek.
Ja, ek moet sê, ek het so hier en daar, soos ek tyd gehad het, om maar so 'n bietjie gekyk, so met die een oog, want 'n bietjie gevang in dit. En, maar wat nou vir my nogal interessant is, jy nou genoem het, Jacques, jy weet, daar gaan nog redelik baie dinge seker, wat ek glo nog baie dinge uitkom. Maar ek meen, klaar reeds, soos ons sê, hy het alreeds so 'n bietjie die rok verboud. Daai twee lede van parlement se name sommer noem, om te sê, maar hulle is ook sommer betrokke. Ek dink dit moes nogal 'n skok gewees het vir baie mense, en dink dit het mense nog meer laat regop sit.
Prof, Neil, ek nou sommer nou vir, hoe sê I'm going to quote our former president, Neil, in sy wysheid, het altyd gesê, dis nie meer 'n surprise vir my nie, maar ek is nog steeds teleurgestel. So baie van die goedes wat uitkom, hoe sê hulle in Engels, it doesn't surprise us anymore, but it's still disappointing, but it's no surprise. So die feit dat daar parlementlede se name genoem word, is nie regtig eintlik eers, dit surprise ons eers regtig, maar dit bly maar teleurstellend, want jy dink hierdie is die mense wat verkies is om oor ons te regeer en besluite te maak namens ons, en dis die tipe goedes wat uitkom in 'n kommissie van ondersoek. Maar ek bedoel, kyk wat het gebeur in die Zondo-kommissie. Hoeveel parlementslede is daar genoem? So, hoe sê hulle, is nothing new. Niks snaaks nie, maar dit bly nog steeds maar uiters teleurstellend. Ja, dit is jammer, dit is jammer dat sulke tipe goed, jy weet, die hooftrekke is in ons land. Dat daar nie beter hooftrekke kan wees, of goeders kan wees wat ons rede gee om oor, jy weet, opgewonde te raak. Dis 'n kanker wat groei nou al vir die laaste 30 jaar. Maar gelukkig, ek sê vandag het ek met iemand gepraat, toe sê ek van my, daar het groot dinge so ver in 2025 gebeur. Groot dinge. En ek dink een van die grootste dinge wat gebeur het is, dat die wêreld bietjie begin notisie neem van wat aangaan in Suid-Afrika. So hopelik voel hierdie mense en hierdie kommissies en hierdie amptenare, miskien hopelik voel hulle bietjie daai druk, en miskien hopelik voel hulle bietjie die oë van die wêreld op hulle, en miskien sal dit hulle dalk miskien bietjie genoeg druk op hulle plaas om hulle self bietjie beter van hulle take te kwyt.
Ja, nee, ek hoor jou daarson, ek stem 100% saam daar. Ja, jy weet, soos hulle sê, nuwe name, nuwe bodies daar in die parlement, maar die same old story nog steeds, blyk by vir my. Maar, ja, ek weet, Saterdagoggend toe word ons nou wakker, en toe kry ons nou nog 'n verrassing, toe sien ons dat Die verlofstorie het toe nou 'n skorsing ontaard vir generaal Sibia, wat toe nou sy brief van skorting Vrydagmiddag blykbaar gekry het, hier so laatmiddag.
Ja, prof, ja, ek hoop nou maar, hy pop nie weer ergens op 'n ander plek op as 'n minister of 'n ding nie, so dis mos maar lyk my wat gebeur in hierdie land, jy weet, jy word geskort uit 'n posisie uit, maar dan word jy gou bevorder na 'n ander posisie toe. So, ja, ek weet ook nie, hierdie is so te mekaar spel, hierdie wat in die polisie aangaan en dis hoekom ek hierdie kommissie van ondersoek so, jy weet, aandagtig dophou, om te kyk wat presies nou daar uitkom. Maar mense word links, regs en so left, right en center geskors en bevorder en geskors en bevorder en jy weet, een oomblik is jy die minister van education en volgende oomblik word jy die minister van verdediging van hierdie land. So al hierdie suspensions en al hierdie skorsings en al hierdie goed, ek moet jou baie eerlik wees, ek steur my nie regtig aan nie. Ek sal graag wil sien of daar nou, jy weet, daar moet sekerlik na 'n skorsing moet daar verdere optrede tog nou kom. Ek bedoel, as jy nou geskors word, dan beteken dit jy was skuldig van iets gewees. En as jy mos nou onthef word van jou pos, dan beteken dit daar moet vervolging ook wees. As jy mos nou steel by jou werk, dan word jy mos nou eers gefire. Maar daarna word daar nou kriminele klagte ook teen jou gelê, omdat jy gesteel het. So, gaat hulle hom nou net skors? Hoekom is hy geskors? En gaan daar verdere optrede volg? Vir wat ook al die rede is dat hy geskors is. So, ek weet nie, ek kry so half idee, partykeer hulle probeer die mense net tap jou, skors hom, maar kom ons los dit dan nou net daar, jy weet, geef hom 'n lekker nice pakket en 'n aftreepak of 'n aftreepakket en ja, there you go. Ek wil weet, hoekom is hy geskors presies, wat was die rede gewees en wat gaan nou gebeur? Dis wat ek graag wil weet.
Ja, ek dink ons almal wil graag weet wat is die aanklagtes en wanneer begin sy dissiplinêre verhoor dan? Want dit is tog die eerste stap wat moet volg.
So suspensie is wonderlik, maar gaan julle nou dit daar los? Is dit nou waar het gaan bly? Of gaan nou vir ons gesê word, hoekom is hy, jy weet, dit geskors en wat volg? Wat is nou die stappe wat daarna gevolg, want daar moet sekerlik stappe wees.
Ja, jy weet, Jacques, die ding is, soos jy dit reg gesê het ook, jy weet, dat ons, die geskiedenis is daarso, oor die laaste 30 jaar is, hoe meer jy aanjaag en soos jy geskors word, dan word jy bevorder in 'n ander plek, in 'n ander posisie, wat eintlik meer gesag in dit dra. Jy weet, jy jaag aan in een munisipaliteit, en dan word jy verplaas na 'n ander een toe, wat jy maar net kan verder aangaan daarso. So dit is die tendens, en ja, en ek meen, dit is die ketting wat gebreek moet word in die einde van die dag. Maar baie interessant, jy het nou net genoem, jy het gesê, ja, jy van minister van onderwys, en jy jaag aan, en dan word jy sommer minister van verdediging. En, ja, Angie Motshekga. En, wat hierdie week uitgekom het, en op die lappe gekom het, is dat, en ek het hom gaan uitwerk, want hierdie miljoene, dink is, het is nogal bietjie baie miljoene wat nou weer wat sy nou weer spandeer daar in Kiba vir 20 offisiere vir opleiding, geakkrediteerde opleiding wat in Suid-Afrika aangebied kan word. Daai wat hulle daar doen, is nie geakkrediteer eers nie. So, hulle gaan doen dit nou wat hulle terugkom. En as ek die artikel reg verstaan het, die eerste jaar gaan net oor vir hulle om Spaans ook te leer. En ek het hom gaan uitwerk, ek dink dit so amper 2 miljoen per offisier wat hierdie kursus nou kos, as ons daarna kyk, vir die geld wat sy nou daarvoor wil spandeer. Ek weet nie, die vermorsing hou net nie op nie.
Ek weet nie, help my as dit verkeerd is, maar as ons besig om 'n oorlog teen Mexico te beplan.
Wel, ek weet nie, want ons kon nie eens 'n idee...
Kom moet ons nou, kom hulle gaan Spaans leer?
Ja, ek weet nie, dit slaan, want blykbaar die kursus word seker in Spaans aangebied, dis seker hoekom.
Prof, weet jy wat, nee, ek het nou vandag, snaaks genoeg, ek het hierdie gelees wat jy nou van praat, ek het dit gelees vandag, maar jy sal nie glo nie, ek lees hierdie, en net daarna lees ek letterlik, net so 'n bietjie, toe ek so afbeweeg met die skerm op my foon, lees ek die volgende ook. 70 kinders sterf aan honger en nalatigheid in Oos-Kaap. Nou dink ek by myself, jy weet, net een ding wat hierdie regering van ons lyk my baie goed in is. Kyk, daar is baie dinge wat hulle totaal en al pateties in is, maar een ding wat hulle lyk vir my baie goed doen en uitstaan mee, jy weet, is om geld te mors en te verkwanstel.
Ja, maar
Want dit is nou al hierdie miljoene van mors. Lees jy hierdie berig en jy lees hierso van 70 kinders wat in honger en nalatigheid sterf in die Oos-Kaap. Dan sit 'n mens nou maar net weer hier, dan krap jy nou maar weer jou kop en dan kom daai ander vraag op van, jy weet, prioriteite en common sense en hierdie tipe van goed. Dan wonder jy, weet, dis nou 'n regering wat nou veronderstel is om te gee vir die mense van hierdie land. Of dis 'n regering wat sê hulle gee om vir die mense van hierdie land. Maar hulle kan geld mors. Hulle kan miljoene mors en dan ook in dieselfde asem toelaat dat sulke tipe goed gebeur in Suid-Afrika. So dit wys jou net, hierdie waarin ons onsself tans bevind is 'n sirkus. Dit is 'n absolute sirkus. En dit raak al hoe moeiliker vir ons deesdae om politieke gesprekke hieroor te hê, want dit voel so half of jy 'n gesprek het met iemand wat vir jou kom sê, hy het nou net by die Spur geëet saam met 3 Marsmannetjies. Of 3 aliens, verstaan jy? Nou, met daai ou wil jy probeer jy nou 'n intelligente gesprek voer. Dit is so ek al begin voel. In Engels wat hulle van die Twilight Zone. Ek voel deesdae voel 'n mens of jy jouself permanent bevind in die Twilight Zone.
Back to the future.
En wat hulle doen. Jy kan dit nie meer eintlik, jy kan dit nie meer verduidelik. En om 'n opinie daaroor te lewer, voel ek partykeer is tyd mors, want jy mors jou asem, maar dit is absoluut belaglik.
Ja, Jacques, jy weet soos jy dit reg sê, ek meen, dit is in die Oos-Kaap. Daai was nou in die Oos-Kaap gewees. Ek meen, ons praat van 28 miljoen, wat nou hulle op vir hierdie 20 offisiere, ek meen, dis oor die 2 miljoene offisier. En vandag toe kom na 'n ander artikel uit wat sê dat 1 kind sterf elke 2 dae weens honger in hierdie land. In hierdie land, 1 kind elke 2 dae. Nou, ek meen, daai 28 miljoen, kon dit nie beter aangewend geword het nie. En ek meen, as ons vat die gedeelte in die Oos-Kaap, daai wat dit is vir my absoluut, dit was my hartskreeuend toe ek dit lees. Absoluut hartskreeuend. Ek meen, kinders, ek meen, hulle is kosbaar. En ek meen, 70 van hulle vir die laaste 7 maande, en in daai 7 maande, het die LER, wat daai moet hardloop en na kyk. En as ek die artikel reg kan onthou, het sy in daai 7 maande 5 kospakkies uitgegee en sy dink dit is 100. En dink dit is hoe dit gedoen moet word. So daar's drasties 'n groot probleem in hierdie land van ons. En daar moet 'n duidelike skuif en 'n verandering kom. En ek meen die luisteraars kan gerus hierdie artikels gaan lees en dit gaan opsoek, want ek meen, hulle sê in Gauteng alleen, jaarliks, praat hulle van 8500 kinders, wat weens wanvoeding moet gehospitaliseer word. Nou, ek meen, dit bring aan die sterfgevalle. Nou, ek het 'n bietjie statistieke hierso by my, Jacques, en ek wil graag met jou deel. En hulle sê van die hoogste geval is by die Steve Biko Akademiese Hospitaal. Nou ons weet die Steve Biko Akademiese Hospitaal is veronderstel om die top-notch staatshospitaal in hierdie land te wees. Nou daar is die laaste jaar 229 gevalle daar aangemeld. Die Rahima Musa Hospitaal 228, Chris Hani Baragwana 217. En dan praat ons dan het hulle nie eers statistieke, hulle sê daar is net honderde gevalle, daar soos by die klinieke in Olivenhoutbos, Lenasia Suid, Hillbrow, en dan praat ons nie eers van die ander plekke in Gauteng nie. En dan is dit nog nie eers die ander provinsies nie. So, daar sal 'n duidelike, om hierdie ding reg te maak, Jacques, en ek dink ons gaan net nou daaroor gesels, wanneer jy vir ons luisteraars bietjie gaan vertel, wat is die pad vorentoe vir die UIM, want ek is seker, die UIM het 'n plan met hierdie tipe dinge.
Ja, nee, prof, nee, verseker. Neil het altyd gesê, dis 'n godskreiende skande. As jy so luister, as jy so, jy weet, ek het al gedink, as mense moet gaan somme maak, en jy moet gaan kyk na hoeveel geld is al spandeer op, of kom ek stel dit eerder so, dit lyk my daar's altyd 'n ou geldjie, vir 'n straatnaam wat moet verander word, of om te spandeer op te mors op sulke nonsens, of op 'n eerste klas vlug, ergens na 'n plek toe waar jy net gaan om te gaan nonsens praat, anders amper sê ek nou daar 'n woord.
Ja,
Amper sê ek nou die verkeerde woord daarso. Maar daar's nie geld vir die goed wat saak maak nie. Daar was nie geld gewees om Eskom op te gradeer toe dit nodig was nie. Daar's nie geld om mense, jy weet, te help uit hierdie haglike toestande waarin hulle bevind. So dit laat partykeer die vraag opkom, jy weet, doen hulle dit nie maar as prins nie. Hou hulle die mense nie maar, sit nie maar 'n manier om die massas te beheer nie, jy weet, om hulle maar arm te hou en oningelig te hou. Maar daar's altyd geld vir nonsens. Maar daar's nie geld vir dit wat saak maak nie. So, nee, dit is maar net, jy het maar net hier te doen weer, en soos ek sê, met 'n regering wat absoluut nie, wat niks voel vir die mense van hierdie land, niks. En dit is die tipe mense wat jy moet kies as leiers wat oor jou moet regeer nie. Ek bedoel, in eerste plek, as jy so besluit maak of jy kies so 'n persoon, dan's daar 'n gebrek aan jou intelligensie of opvoeding. Want ek weet nie, hoe doen jy dit nie? Hoe pluk jy, hoe sê jy pluk laat vir jou gaan?
absoluut.
Maar dit is een van ons verantwoordelikhede as die UIM en as partye wat omgee vir die mense van hierdie land en ons land, is om seker te maak dat hierdie mense ingelig word. Ons moet uitreik na dit toe, en ons moet hulle gaan inlig. En ons moet vir hulle gaan sê, luister hierso, julle is besig om, julle bewerkstellig julle eie downfall. Maar iemand moet dit doen. Iemand moet vir die mense die lig wys. Dit is nou maar net so. En daar's partye wat ek het al gesê op 'n vorige uitsending wat ons gedoen het op ons sosiale media. Daar's partye met baie geld wat beskik oor die vermoëns en die finansies om te kan gaan op roadshows en uit te gaan reik na hierdie mense wat daar bly in die, jy weet, in die, hoe sê hulle in die Gramadolas, die mense wat nie van beter weet nie, mense wat nie weet wat dit beteken om lopende water te hê of elektrisiteit te hê en so nie. Al wat hulle weet is, hulle weet die sirkus kom elke 5 jaar, kom hulle daarna hulle dorp toe met t-shirts en wheaties en sandwiches, en dan word daar gestem vir die manne. Maar daai mense intussen word hulle vergeet. En daai 5 jaar tussen verkiesings word daai mense vergeet. En ons moet begin uitreik na daai mense toe en vir daai mense wys, daar's 'n ander lewe vir julle daar buite. Maar julle gaan moet begin ingeligte besluite maak. Want ek weet nie hoe in die
Ja, nee, amper kom hy gevleede woorde.
Kyk die ANC 7 miljoen plus stemme nie. Waar kom daai stemme vandaan? Wil jy vir my sê daar's 7 miljoen plus mense wat hou van loadshedding en oor potholes ry en armoede en rioolwater wat in hulle strate afloop en om in vrees te lewe. Wil jy vir my sê dis wat hulle kies dit?
En dat hulle kinders van hongersnood moet doodgaan.
Exactly. I mean, dit verstaan. So dit is wat my in die aand wakker hou. Dis wat my voel, ek is hier in, hoe sê hulle, ek is ergens as ek in 'n masjien gekoppel en hierdie is die matrix.
Ja, maar dan kry ons dinge soos ons geagte visiepresident Mashitele, wat sy posisie so sterk is op hierdie BBE, dat as jy net praat daarvan dat dit een van die oorsake is hoekom hierdie land is waar hy is, dan vat hy het heeltemal terug apartheid toe.
I want to deal with this in English, Prof, if you will permit me. So,
yes, please do.
The president has taken a stance on broad-based black economic empowerment, or BEE, or triple BEE. And apparently, he has now emphasized that it's a necessary legislative framework aimed at achieving economic inclusivity and empowerment of those previously disadvantaged by apartheid. He's also apparently said that if we do away with BEE, we will be going back to an apartheid-type regime. And he also said that BEE is not discriminatory in nature. And okay, yeah, you know, that's enough for me to already make a conclusion, or to make an assumption, or whatever you want to call it, about exactly what's going on in that guy's mind or head. And it's not pretty. And I don't want to paint that picture because it's an ugly picture. But how is it possible for a vice president of a country to be so uninformed? And the problem is, I don't know whether or not he's uninformed, or is he just being plain naive or arrogant. But I mean, if you go and look at the term BEE, if you go and look at its definition, if you Google it, you only have to Google that term, you will see exactly what it means and who it benefits. Now, if you want to go and look up the word discrimination as well, go and do that, and then go and look and see what the word discrimination means. And then compare those two with one another, or see if you can draw any comparisons or lines, or if you can connect the dots. But we've got the person with the second highest level of power or authority in this country saying that it is not discriminatory in nature, and that if we do away with BEE, we'll be going back to apartheid. Once again, it's as I said earlier, it's the circus, it's the twilight zone. It's these expressions and things that get said that make me feel like a stupid person. The more I listen to these statements and the more I read these kinds of comments, I can literally feel my IQ level dropping slowly as I read these sentences and these words coming out of these people's mouths. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's shocking, but once again, it's no surprise. It's disappointing and shocking, but it's not really. It doesn't really surprise any of us. And once again, it's another defiant act in the face of the Americans that we are apparently trying to restore relationships with. So I don't understand this. This is hypocrisy at its best. We've got a government that claims that they are trying to restore trade relations with America, but at the same time they are spitting in America's faces, or they're spitting in the face of America. Because America has made it very clear what they want and what they expect from this government in order for us to start having discussions about lifting tariffs and all these kinds of discussions. Those discussions will not even happen. These discussions are not going to be entertained as long as we don't comply with what they have requested. But once again, we just spat in their faces. So, yeah, it baffles the mind.
Absolutely, Jock. I just want to give the listeners who haven't got the studio's number, 079-678-0510. You can send us messages on that number or questions or so forth. Ek sien daar kom 'n klomp deur op my privaat nommer, so ek is net bang ek mis hulle, want ek konsentreer meer op die ateljee se WhatsApp nommer wanneer ons op die lug is as op my eie privaat ene. But Jacques, ja, en jy weet, ons almal ken Vetkoek Paleis, daai gewilde program wat op TV was, en dan ken ons mos ook nou Worsie se ma, ou Ella, wat ons altyd gesê het, die pyn, die ontsettende pyn, jy was 'n instrument, baba, die pyn was so ondraaglik geweest. Nou ja, blykbaar vir ons geagte president is die pyn net so ondraaglik deesdae. En dis hoekom hy blykbaar nie meer omgee wat hy sê nie. Want die pyn is te erg, hy kan nie dink wat hy meer sê nie. Met al die uitlatings wat gemaak is, en dan is dit nog sy nasionale voorsitter ook, wat lyk my ook so in pyn is, want wat hy ook kwyt geraak het, maandag daar by die FNB stadium, toe hulle nou al hierdie raadslede toegespreek het en dit, en dan gaan ons nie eens van, Fikile, nee, okay, maar Jacques, kom ons begin met ons geagte president, want ek meen, hy is die hoofnar in die sirkus, ek meen, Neil het altyd gesê, dis hoekom hulle in die tent sit, want dis 'n sirkus, wat hy sê dat, maar jy weet, die pyn, die diepe pyn wat hy het, jy weet, met wat gebeur en wat aangaan, en so, lyk my, hy weet nie meer wat om te sê nie, so, nou sê hy maar net wat eerst opkom.
Nee, Prop, het lyk vir my, hy is sommer die ideaalse grootste cheerleader.
Lyk maar.
So, ek weet nie wat gaan aan met die liewe president van ons nie, maar ek wonder of hy ooit weet wat sy naam is op die stadium. Want hy is so demekaar skots en tuimeldroog. En hy maak my nog meer demekaar as kots en tuimeldroog, want het lyk vir my hy weet nie wat hy wil hê nie. Dit is, ek dink sy biografie, sy autobiografie gaan ek verseker koop. Want ek dink dit gaan een van die interessantste en snaakste stukkies leesstof wees, nee, wat nog ooit in hierdie land gepubliseer is. Want ek beloof jou, ja, dit is, waar begin 'n mens? Waar begin 'n mens met ou, hoe het Niel hom genoem, Soekie Sarel? Ai.
Ja, maar
ek weet nie, ek sien daar's nou weer twee skalke en daar's nou twee kampe en die manne in die ANC is nou weer kwaad vir mekaar en ja, jy het nou apparently you've got the Mashatile faction once again and you've got the Ramaphosa faction and one's feeling pressure from the other and the other one feels that he's on his, that he feels like his time is up and now he's starting to, I don't know if he's thrown a lifeline to the DA or if he's reached out to the DA for a helping hand. But the behavior is coming more and more ludicrous, to be quite honest with you. It's absolutely, it's crazy.
Maybe he wants to join them.
There's a lot of people that have predicted this, and there's a lot of people that have announced the ANC's downfall. And if you read these kinds of comments and if you read these kinds of news stories, then it seems to be, there seems to be truth in those comments and in those statements, because it's an absolute circus at the moment. It's always been a circus, but I think it feels as if the circus is reaching a crescendo. It's reaching a climax at the moment. So I don't know if we're going to see 2029, to be quite honest with you. I feel that there are maybe a referendum is on the cards, before we get to 2029. But yeah, 2025 has been a very, very interesting year. I think it's been a good year in certain aspects, because of reasons that I mentioned previously. But I'm very, very keen to see what happens in 2026. Because if you have to draw a graph at the moment of what's happening with the ANC in this country, I think that'll be a very, very interesting graph, and it'll be a very interesting graph to follow for the next couple of months, leading up to the next local government elections. And we will be, we'll be keenly watching this space and doing our level best in the background to work as hard as we can to make sure that we establish ourselves and as a force to be reckoned with, and as a player, in this political Game of Thrones. Because at the end of the day, I think there are very few parties, and we are one of them, that really truly care about the people of this country and the country itself. And I think it's time that people start, giving us a chance. People must start giving us a chance to show, so that we can show what we are capable of. People have got nothing to lose. That they've got absolutely nothing to lose that they haven't lost already. But we cannot carry on like this for another 5 years. Unfortunately, we have to wait until 2029. But next year, December, January, November 2027, end of 26, we have a golden opportunity to make a very big change in this country, which will, I think, serve us very well heading into the next national elections in 2029.
Yeah, I see there's a couple of listeners got some opinions on this as well. Marlon sent this, he said, they are shifting blame. What about Patekile? They want to prosecute Mkhwanazi, yet Patekile has turned over 17 dismissals cases to final written warnings. And when we got Benjamin, and he says, he says, evening everyone, President Ramaphosa himself has admitted that municipalities are failing in service delivery. Given our history, the sacrifices made in the past, and the ongoing hypocrisy in leadership, where are you truly see South Africa heading if this poor governance continues. And I think that is quite obvious. But when Chris tells us, he said, Jacques, do you think the factions are due to the cultural differences, or is it divided between Xhosa and Zulu? And do you think if the ANC loses in the 26 or 29 national elections, will they go peacefully, or do you feel there will be national unrest? So I think let's first deal with this before we look at any further messages, Jacques.
Yeah, Prof, that's a difficult one to answer because you'd have to do a bit more research on that. But if I have to give you my personal opinion, I would say that I think maybe culture plays a role. Tribalism maybe plays a role, but I think it plays a very small role. I think this is all about money and power, to be quite honest with you, because those are the two biggest corruptors in the world. So I think this has always been about money and power because, yeah, I think it was if it was a cultural issue or a tribal issue, then I think those that are in power would have looked after the people that form part of their culture first and foremost, and we wouldn't have the amount of poverty and absolute horrific, living conditions that we have in South Africa. And the thing is, the problem is the majority of the people that are suffering those conditions are, unfortunately, the black communities and the black people, and the people that form part of these majority cultures of our country's national leadership. Sorry to say, but so no, I don't think it's a cultural. I think that those things play very small roles. But for me, I think power and money, as always.
Absolutely, I agree with you on that, Jacques. You know that before we came on air this evening, I just took some time and I quickly look on Biz News on because just after all those last 2 weeks and so forth, all the elections, the by-elections, what was held across the country, they had the expert there to give his opinion and summary. And I mean, if you look there in the Eastern Cape, the seat that the PA took there, and took it away from the ANC. And then, if we look at Soweto, Naledi, KwaZulu-Natal, and some of the other areas where these by-elections was, and it was quite evident that the ANC have lost, they've lost percentages in these areas, and not just them, but even in KZN, where the DA actually surprised everyone, where the MK party done well in the last national elections in that area, where the DA now took them over. So this is actually at this stage, if we look at the by-election, it's a roller coaster all the way now. And it would have been interesting to see, when the URM decide to take part in by-elections, how they will fare. That will give a good indication where the people of this country, what their mindset are, if they are really wants to be served, or are they so used to just to follow. Jy weet, soos 'n klomp bokke en skape en goed, jy weet, en beeste, jy weet, as die leier daar loop, en loop almal maar net eenvoudig agterna. Jy weet, dit is maar wat ons moet doen. En of die mense werklik waar 'n verandering in hierdie land wil hê.
Ja, Prof, dit is 'n moeilike een. Jy weet, ek soek nou uitgee hierso op my laptop. Daar's 'n spesifieke quote wat ek wil vir jou lees hierso oor brawe besluite. It's a quote about brave decisions, making brave decisions. A lot of people out there would rather make the safe decision, if I can put it that way. They feel that certain parties are a safe bet. They don't want to risk, betting on other parties, or they don't want to risk giving other parties a chance. And I understand why, but I just think people need to just ask themselves a very honest and simple question. If people want to know who to vote for in the next local government election, All they need to do is just ask themselves a very straightforward, simple question and answer it honestly. And they need to ask themselves whether or not the previous decision they made or the previous candidate they selected or chose lived up to expectations. It's as simple as that. And if the answer is yes, then by all means, reappoint the same person or vote for the same party. But if your honest answer is no, then there is no harm in giving someone else a chance. There's no harm in giving another party a chance, but then obviously also make an educated decision. Don't just pick someone else for the sake of picking someone else. But people need to ask themselves these questions, and they need to answer these questions honestly. We don't have representation in all corners of South Africa. Not by a long shot. We are working on it. We are working to expand and to reach as many areas of people as possible. But we don't feature everywhere. We don't feature in all the municipalities and wards and areas in South Africa. But there where we do have representation, we have strong representation. The people that we have at the moment representing us in the different areas that they do are competent people, are passionate people, are loyal people, are fearless people. And those are the kinds of people that come over to the UIM. Those are the kind of people that are interested in this UIM. We are united in principle in this party. We are not united on race or religion, or we are united in principle and on value, on our values. That's what unites the people that form part of this party. That's why we've got all people from all walks of life, all different religions, different races that are part of the UIM. Because we see eye to eye on a lot of things. Yeah, we differ on a lot of things as well. But when it comes to principles and values, we see eye to eye. And those are the people that we are attracting, and those are also the kind of leaders that we are, putting into certain positions in or into certain areas to contest the elections in 2026. And that is what the people can expect from us. They can expect absolute dedication to the people, non-stop hard work, never say die attitudes, and absolute fearlessness. And I think this is something that is severely lacking in South Africa at the moment, is fearless leadership. People always talk about competent leadership and this and that and on. Yes, those are great values, and those are definitely values that you need to have to be a leader in this country. But I think one thing that sets the UIM aside, and this is something that set Neil aside from other leaders in this country, was his absolute fearlessness. And I think this is what South Africa needs. See, South Africa needs pit bulls. We don't need chihuahuas and poodles and stuff. We need pit bulls to run this country.
We don't need ankle biters.
Neil was one.
We don't need those ankle biters who just yap all the time. Jock, Barry says here, I agree with Jock that we need to give a UIM a chance. How will we ever see a change? We need the UIM in municipalities. Barry, agree with you and thank you for that en vir daai ondersteuning. Jock, en dan het hy vir my nog 'n boodskap gestuur en ek dink hierdie boodskapie sal die luisteraars baie gelukkig maak vanaand. Want dit maak my gelukkig en dit gaan jou net so gelukkig maak. Hy sê vir my naandpersoon, julle kan nou uitsaai in julle nuwe tydslot. Want Joy Radio het nou besluit om ons tydslot van 18:30 tot 19:30 op donderdag amptelik, sonder addisionele kostes, te verleng tot 8:00 toe.
Baie dankie Barry, baie dankie Joy Radio. Ons waardeer dit verskriklik baie. Ja, ons kom die tyd vlieg so vinnig as ons gesels op hierdie program. Ja, weet voor ons uitfees die tyd verby, so ons waardeer dit verskriklik baie. So dankie aan Joy Radio.
Ja, nee, dat is ek sê, baie dankie daar vir julle Barry. En ja, want ek meen, ek glo hierdie program het al reeds begin om waarde by te voeg en toe te voeg in baie luisteraars se lewens. En dan sien ek Leon sê, hy sê from Leon hier. Okay. Evening SG and Prof, does the UM have any fearless leaders willing to do what is right for the country instead of our own interest? Leon, I can tell you yes, for sure. Out of my heart, I can tell you yes. Personally, I know that the UM do have fearless leaders, and I think Jock will be able to actually come forth and say yeah or nay.
No, absolutely, Prof. Absolutely. We've got a bunch of feisty people in this party. And I think we were led by one of probably the most feisty persons or people or politicians that have ever existed, well, in South Africa and abroad. So we've got big shoes to fill. We're already missing Neil. I mean, it's been a very rough couple of weeks. But, in honor of his memory and his legacy, we are going to continue to fight. And I mean, I think Neil has rubbed off on a lot of us. But I also think there's a reason why he picked certain of us in the beginning when he started this party. Because, he saw there were likenesses that he identified in some of us. That some of the qualities that he also has or had, if I can put it that way. So we are all a bunch of, non-politicians that have had it rough in life. Some of us have had it very, very rough in life. We've traveled on bumpy roads and we've seen things and been to places and done many things that have shaped who we are. We haven't been sitting in offices and buildings and parliaments and congresses all our life. We've been out, on the streets doing what we needed to do to survive and to earn money and to navigate the rough waters of this country. And I think it's hardened us and it's prepared us for this role and for this chapter in our lives that we are busy with at the moment. So I would love to introduce you. There's so many people that we are going to introduce you to in the next couple of weeks. There's people that I've already sent out a quick invitation to some of those people if they quickly want to come on and join us. And I would like to, Prof, if you will permit me, ask some of our members or some of our staff members, if I could put it that way, to send us an invitation so that we can let them onto this meeting and ask them if they would maybe like to say something positive about the UIM, in going forward and the way forward. I think we've touched on the way forward. Even now, while we have been speaking for the last hour or so, we have touched on certain things that we want to do and things that define us as a party. But, I would like the public to also hear from some of the people that are, in the UIM, not just myself and you, obviously. I would like to invite them to quickly send us I'll share the link with them, or you can share the link with them, and then let them come on and let them, out of their own experience or from their side, tell our listeners where we are heading and what the way forward is for the UIM. I want people to hear it from them as well, if you don't mind.
No, not a problem at all. I see Chris Gavers sent us a quote. He says, the saying is, he who seeks power is corrupted. So true, the current governing party. Now, I hope, Chris, I've sent him a link so long. We will do it one at a time. I think that's going to work better. And then we can hear what his point on this is. Maar, Jock, intussen tyd, sê vir ons luisteraars, maar van jou kant af, as die huidige sekretaris-generaal en die waarnemende president, want dit is wat die konstitusie sê, jy neem waar, tot 'n nuwe president verkies is, vir die United Independent Movement, wat is die pad vorentoe?
Prof, die pad vorentoe is om mense te inspireer, en mense in te lig. Is om vir mense te inspireer en te wys dat daar 'n toekoms is vir hulle in hierdie land. Jy weet, alle toekoms lê nie elders nie. Dit lê nie op see nie. Die mense moet begin besef dat, jy weet, ons is hier. Ons gaan nie, daar's baie van ons wat nie die geleentheid gaan hê om te kan doen. Hy het gegaan klop, hy's Sien is mense wat probeer inkom hierso.
Ja, ek sien Chris probeer inkom.
Okay.
Chris, if you can hear me, just put your background radio off, please.
Hi, Prof. I don't have a background radio on. If the connection is terrible, thank you very much for giving me the honor of joining you. Hello, SG. I hope you're well. Hello, Prof. I hope you're well.
Thank you, Chris. We're going to give you now time to say a couple of words for us. I just want Jacques just to finish on what he started on the way forward for us. Jacques, asseblief, kom ons...
Ja, Prof, nee, so ons moet mense inspireer. Ons moet mense inspireer. Ons moet mense inspireer en ons moet vir mense wys dat daar's 'n toekoms in hierdie land vir hulle. En ek dink dit is belangrik dat mense weet dat daar mense is wat vir hulle beklei. Jy weet, daar's mense wat bereid is om nie op te gee nie, wat nie gaan opgee nie, wat nog nie opgegee het nie. En ons moet mense inlig ook. Dit is so belangrik om jouself, jy weet, te verryk. Jy weet, wat wette aanbetref en politiek aanbetref. Ons almal moes dit doen. Almal van ons wat aangesit het by die UIM in 2021 moes gaan lees en moes gaan navorsing doen. Ek was gelukkig geweest want ek was besig met my regstudies op daai stadium. So ek het baie geleer van konstitusionele wetgewing en dit help my baie. Ek weet, jy moet weet hoe werk hierdie land. Jy moet weet hoe werk hierdie land, jy moet weet hoe werk hierdie land se prosesse, hoe werk hierdie land hoe word wette geformuleer in hierdie land, wat is die prosesse wat gevolg word om wette goed te keer. Al hierdie goed is baie belangrik. Ons sê elke week vir mense, of het ons so baie vir mense gesê, elke Vrydag word die Staatskoerant gepubliseer. Doen die moeite en lees die Staatskoerant. Laat jy weet wat om jou aangaan, laat jy weet wat in jou land aangaan. As daar geleenthede is vir jou om publieke deelname aan nuwe wetgewing wat geformuleer word of voorgestem moet word, neem deel aan daai. Weet hoe werk hierdie land. En ek het nou in Engels, ek het my hele lewe dat ek my hierdie regstudies in Engels gedoen, so partykeer druk ek myself beter uit in Engels. You need to know your constitution, you need to know how laws are passed in this country, how laws are made, what the voting processes are in terms of legislation and lawmaking, the public participation process. You need to know how that works, how that functions. You need to know how your councils work before you just complain. We get complaints from people every day complaining about service delivery issues. Know how council works. Know what your councillors are supposed to do and so that you can hold them accountable. You need to make educated decisions. You know, by the time when we get to the elections in 2026, people need to know, you know, how this governance or governing system of our works, so that they can make informed decisions. And the biggest challenge, obviously, is to make sure that everybody gets educated, that everybody gets an opportunity to learn these things or to know how government works. And I know it's unrealistic because we are 65 odd million people in this country, and there are people that are living in absolute rural areas in South Africa, and nobody ever goes there, nobody ever speaks to these people or nobody reaches out to these people. But those are things that we need to do if we want to change the way this country's elections, if we want to change election results in this country, we need to start doing these things. We need to start doing things that have not been done before. Because we keep on doing the same thing and repeating the same things over and over and over again, expecting different results, and we never get different results. We get the same results that differ to a certain degree, but they are more or less the same results. So if we want to change things, we need to start doing things differently. And since we aren't in government at the moment, or national government, and we don't have the authority to pass or to make certain decisions, the best we can do as the United Independent Movement is to educate people as much as we can, and like I said, to inspire them. That's why we spend so much time on social media. There's no other party in South Africa, not even close, that spends as much time on social media like we do. or do the amount of live broadcasts that we do. Yes, we might not get as much airtime on mainstream media as some of these other parties, but we are doing our level best to reach to as many people as possible every week to talk about issues in South Africa, to talk about political issues, to talk about, stuff, news headlines, and to talk about policies and the way forward. And there's still a lot to discuss. There's a lot of things to talk about in the next couple of months. We haven't even begun discussing our blueprint, our governance blueprint for South Africa, or our ideas around, certain things in South Africa, or our solutions to some of South Africa's biggest problems. We will get to those things, to those topics, and those are going to be very interesting discussion points. But people must just make a difference. As it doesn't matter how big that difference is. If everybody makes a small difference, Neil always said, "Bietjie maak baie."
Absolutely.
But everybody has got a responsibility, to do something. Doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to be huge, it doesn't have to be, no one needs to hear about it. But there are things that you can do that can make a big difference. And if everybody takes the time or makes the effort, then we will change South Africa. I have no doubt whatsoever. And the UIN will be there. We will continue fighting, and we will continue speaking to the public, and we will continue, doing what we've been doing for the last 4 years.
Absolutely. Yeah, I seen Benjamin Honeyball tells us, I said the UIM offers South Africans a new way forward, a movement built on accountability, action, and people-first leadership. With honesty and commitment, we believe a UIM can restore trust, fix service delivery, and build with South Africa our people deserve. Now, for the listeners, Benjamin Honeyball is from Imfoleni in the Vaal Triangle. Imfoleni is now Vanderbijl Park, Vereniging, Sebokeng, Sharpeville, Boipatong, these areas. And he's also the vice chair of the Imfoleni UIM branch. So we will also in due course also have him on with us here on Joy Radio on this program, Straight Talk with the UIM. But now we got Chris all the way there from Port Elizabeth. And he's also one of the people that Jacques spoke about earlier, those who work behind the scenes and have been behind the scenes helping and working hard. And there's a lot of other people, and like this message that came in from Clara, for example, who also said, she said, "Goeienaand, is geen prof, luister hier uit Bethel, Mpumalanga." She's down there in that area. Then we got Chris's beautiful wife, Erlita, who works hand in hand and side by him in the UIM. We've got people like down there in the Western Cape, Kurt. We got Leon, he's the IT boffin of the UIM. Then we got Marlies Fogus. She is, and Jacques just spoke about all the social media things. She is the lady who runs that stuff, and she runs it with an iron fist, believe me. And and we got Cherise, we got Oki, we got Geets, we got Tilani, and the list goes on. I haven't got the whole list with me here now. There's over, I think, between 18 and 100 representatives currently, that is scattered across the country. What we're going to bring to you on Straight Talk with the UIM, just on Joy Radio currently, but you're still going to meet, and they are scattered all around the country, so that you can know as a listener, I've got somebody of a UIM somewhere, en as daar nie iemand is in jou area nie, dan hoekom steek jy nie jou hand op en sê, maar luister, miskien moet ek instaan, miskien moet ek deel word van hierso, miskien moet wat ek deel word, want die woord sê toch vir ons, ons moet dien. Jesus het gekom en hy het gesê, ek het nie gekom om gedien te word, ek het gekom om te dien. En dit is wat die UIM sê, ons is nie hier om gedien te word deur die belastingbetaler nie, en dies meer, ons is hier om te dien. Maar nou ja, Jacques, ek is seker, jy het 'n vraag of twee vir Chris.
Yeah, Prof, Chris, I would like you to, in your own words, tell the people, where do you see the UIM in the next year, and then obviously in the next 4 years? And I need to share some of our success stories and share some of our struggles and share with the public some of our, just something inspirational. Tell them why you joined the UIM and why you've been involved with the UIM for the last 3 years.
Thank you, Jock, for the question. The answer to the first question is winning. The second question is winning. The third question is because we are untainted. We fight as normal people, everyday people, as artisans, as bus drivers, as whatever. We are not politicians. We are straight up and honest. What have we done that's been fantastic? We've tackled old age home facilities where other parties don't want to get involved. We filled potholes when nobody wanted to pay us. We've raised funds on our own. We have dropped to a level that everybody, that we are on the same page as they are. We have never professed to be better than the common man in the street. And I do believe that we can win. And we are a party for all people. They must know that. All races, colors, creeds, religions. We are the only party that do that. And that is why we will win. We have to win. Losing is not an option.
Chris, and if I might, Prof, another question is, why do you think, Chris, that what this country, doesn't need necessarily is another politician? And why do you think we make the best politicians, even though we are not politicians? That sounded very weird, but I think you understood perfectly what I said.
Because, SG, we are that man on the street that doesn't only complain about the pothole, we're going to fix it. We are affected by these things, by electricity cuts. We are affected by water shortages. We're not sitting in a 2 million rand house and everything is automated. We are normal people that feel for everybody else. There's nothing special about us. The only difference is we have decided to be that person Prof spoke about. You in that area, why don't you stand up and join us? We are those people, common people.
And
I think one of the things that really stood out about Neil, and I knew Neil for many, many years, I think one of the things that stood out about Neil was, this party actually, I think this party actually was originated in the Cape Flats in Cape Town, to be quite honest with you. And I think one of the reasons why the UIM came into being was because of that CRU initiative that Neil started in 2020 already. That community reaction unit that he used to go out with. I think if people really, for those of you that have been with the UIM or supported the UIM, all this time, you will surely remember back in the day when back in 2021, even late 2020, when Neil used to do a live on a Friday night, sitting in that Everest, Silver Everest, with the police light, with the blue lights and the antennas, wearing his bulletproof vest, and just speaking to the public before he went out every night to go patrol the streets. He did that every week, and that's one of the reasons. That's how I got involved with the UIM as well. I started watching those live broadcasts of his on a week over the weekend, when he used to go out and serve the community of Mitchell's Plain and other communities as well in that area as part of that CRU unit. So from the beginning, even before the UIM officially registered as a political party, Neil was out serving the community. And he put his life on the line while he was doing that. I went out a couple of times with him. And the first time I went out, we got shot at. And we saw 2 murders that evening, and helped the police to set up a perimeter. So those were dangerous. That's dangerous stuff that Neil did back in the day. But he did it for the people because he's a man van die mense. He's a man of the people, and that is something that we when we started the party, that was one of our hallmarks. That was one of our one of the things that, one of our distinguishing, I would say, most distinguishing characteristics as a party was members of the UIM was a love for the people and a willingness to serve. And that is something that is very rare in politics and politicians for that matter. One of Neil's favorite things that he used to say was, and he used to actually, it doesn't sound as nice. You have to see it on video, because there's more power in it if you see it on video, because Neil used to point his finger and say, the politicians there and the people here. And he was always very adamant, from the beginning and right until the end, that we are not your run-of-the-mill politicians. We are not career politicians. None of us studied politics. We didn't get involved in politics because we wanted to be politicians or wanted political careers. We got involved in politics because out of love for the people of South Africa and this country. And we wanted to do something about it. We wanted to make a difference. We wanted to be involved. We didn't want to just sit back and watch other people, do what they do or whatever. And I mean, we honestly, to be quite honest, and we got fed up. We got fed up with the opposition parties that for 30 years managed to do absolutely diddly squat, about the ANC. I mean, they were trampled, they got trampled by the ANC. So we said, you know what, if we don't get up and do something about it, then this is going to keep on happening for the rest of our lives and our children's lives for that matter. And that's how the UIM came into being. And those are, like I said earlier, those are the kind of people that we attract, as people that feel the same way that we do.
Absolute. Yeah, guys. And, I just want to add just something as well. Chris, each and every person who are part of a UIM currently are volunteers. Nobody gets paid a cent. We do it because we love this country. And as Kurt also said, we are there to serve. And that is why we're doing it. Because we want something better for our kids, our grandkids, their kids and their grandkids. Because that's how we should look at it. And gents, another question that I just want to put out there and a statement I want to make to the listeners is, when the elections come, and I know people already says, you know what, not interested, I'm not going to vote, I'm not going to be part of it. If you do not vote, you cannot complain anymore. If you do not vote, you give your vote for those who have already brought and put this country in the state where it is in currently. And that's why, soos ons in Afrikaans sal sê, haal af die oogklappe en begin rondom jou rondkyk en sien wat gebeur in hierdie land en sien hoe diep jy al werklik waar in hierdie hoel staan. Want dinge gaan nie beter word soos dit is nie. Ons kan alleenlik 'n verskil maak, elke Suid-Afrikaner, by die verkiesing 26 of vroeg 27. Ons wag nog om te hoor wanneer die presiese datum gaan wees, maar dit sal eers later in die jaar kom. Die regering hou dit op hierdie stadium baie na in die bors, want hulle sal weer daai goed wil uitbring, en ek dink Jacques, hulle sal vir ons kan mooi vertel, hulle wag tot jy op verlof is of lekker daar so in jou vakansiehuis sit, en waar jy die minste verwag, want dit is wanneer hulle al hierdie wetgewings ook sommer vinnig teken, dan kry Cyril baie vinnige pen in die hande of iets, dan kom die ding onder die rusbank uit, want hy was nie saam met die miljoene weg nie.
Ja, prof, en ek dink nou vandag aan 'n ding ook, jy weet, dit lyk vir my elke keer as daar moeilikheid is in die ANC of as hulle stout is, nee, dan vir een of ander rede, dan word daar snaakse dinge, dan wetgewing voorgestel wat die mense omstel, wat almal rattle, as ek dit so kan stel. En een ding wat hulle baie van hou om te doen, is die oomblik as hulle 'n bietjie aandag van hulle wil afkry, dan kom raak hulle aan ons vuurwapenwet. Dan kom lol hulle met die vuurwapenwet, want hulle weet hierdie klomp Afrikaners en manne in Suid-Afrika en mense for that matter wat gatvol is vir al hierdie geweld en misdaad in hierdie land. Dit gaan vir hulle so ontstel dat hulle gaan vergeet van vir daai oomblik vergeet hulle van elke ander probleem wat op die oomblik in hierdie land aan die gang is. En veral wat hulle mee besig is, wat die regering mee besig is. So hulle is vol tricks, soos jy sê, dit is hulle they've been doing this for a very long time. So hulle weet net hoe om ons aandag af te trek of ons besig te hou terwyl hulle besig is om nonsens aan te vang. So very important for people to please read the government gazette on a Friday. Please stay updated with regards to what's happening in your country, in your community, in your province, in your town, because knowledge is key and knowledge is power. They can't pull the wool over our eyes, if we stay educated and if we stay updated. Dan kan hulle nie kom en hierdie snaakse goedes hier reg onder ons neuse kom doen nie, verstaan jy? Ons moet wakker wees en ons moet betrokke wees. And we are not doomsday prophets. Also in the UIM, not at all. We are a bunch of very positive and spirited people and optimistic people. Otherwise, we would all probably be, filling in immigration documents or whatever. So yes, we do not complain. We do talk about the things that are wrong in South Africa quite often and quite a bit. But make no mistake, we are extremely, extremely positive and hopeful for this country. And we know that this country has got unlimited potential. And that is why we do what we do. And that's why we get so upset when things don't go our way or when we get disappointed. We get really, really upset. And yes, we talk about it. Then we talk about it and we vent. But it's only because we know that South Africa has limitless potential. And we know that, the difference between having the South Africa that we all want and deserve and having a South Africa that has finally gone to the dogs. That margin is so small. It's so small. And the determining factor or the thing that can tip it either way is the people of this country.
Absolutely.
And if people start realizing how much power they have, you're going to see some major changes in South Africa. People don't realize that every single thing that is happening to us in this country is of our own making. And we are the only ones that can change it. And we literally have that power. We literally have that power to snap our fingers and change this country in one day, in an instant. So we are going to continue making sure that we drill this into people's heads, and that's why I'm saying we are big on inspiration. We are big on inspiring people. We want to make sure that people understand this is not all is not lost. We've got a great future in this country if we start making some slight changes and some clever changes, and if we start getting up and start getting involved. And we are going to continue inspiring people, we're going to continue fighting, and we're going to continue trying our level best until we can't try anymore. But we want to see South Africa to succeed, and we want to see the country we literally all dream about every single day. And that country is 100% within our reach.
Yes, that's so true. See, our time is busy starting to tick down. Die uurglasie begin uitloop, but before we go, Chris, I want to just come back to you quickly. Before you sent me another message, said you got one more thing you want to add. But before you do that, you are in PE.
Yeah.
Our people, or the public in PE, our listeners there, are there a branch for them to join? How do they go about? What are you guys in PE are busy with? And if they want to join there, how do they go about there in PE itself? Not everybody wants to go to a website or something like
that. Prof, I'm glad you asked that. By Friday, we will have our branch established. Number one. Number two, PE is the size of a postage stamp. We've got some great people here in PE. I'm hoping to have a meeting with them on this weekend so we can hammer home, get this branch established. that is most important. I think that to a large degree in the Eastern Cape, a lot of people are not aware that we are not a single race, color, or creed-based party. We are for all the people, and I think that is a very important message that we need to get out into the poor neighborhoods. We need to door, and sadly, with Neil's passing, it has increased our conviction in getting these things done. A lot of guys are motivated, and we're going out there with intention to grow extremely rapidly. So yes, my branch by the end of this week will be established. Number one. Number two, I just want to tell the listeners out there, firstly, I am Greek. Secondly, I am Muslim. And I've been accepted into this party since the very first moment I came in here. It is for all of us who care about this country. We need to set aside all our differences, no matter what they are, and think about the future of our children and our grandchildren. That is the most important thing. And we need funding. Help us to be accountable to you. Thank you, Chris. Thank you very much.
Thanks a million, Chris. Jacques, we got about 10 minutes left. We got two questions that came in, and I think it's quite relevant that we should answer them. The first one comes from Sean Hunter, and you will hear his name still a lot going forward. He's one of our newest representative here at the Imfuleni branch who have just currently joined the UAM as well. He said, I'm not sure if this has already been discussed. Does the UAM going to keep a BizNews slot going as it were many people came to know who and what the UAM are and what they stand for? And that one comes from Sean, and the other one comes from Barry, and he says, I said, do you have an idea, Jacques, who will be elected as president of the UAM? More or less, do you think who will it be? And I think, Jacques, the process has started, and I think you can maybe just, or if you don't want to, I will explain to the listeners how that process works. But I think the BizNews, there is exciting news about that.
Yes, Prof. Yeah, I was told by Chris Stein that she would give us an opportunity to talk about the UIM and the way forward it's the first Sunday in October on Neil's dedicated slot. She's going to give us that opportunity, and then we are going to tell the public. I think this will be the first time ever that that the BizNews is dedicating an episode to a political party, and giving them the opportunity to talk about their party exclusively. When Neil was doing BizNews, he was very apolitical. He was, acting as a political analyst most of the time. Obviously, everybody knows him or knew him as our president, but he was giving apolitical opinions on the political issues in South Africa. But she has promised us that she will give us an opportunity to talk exclusively about the UAM. So that is very exciting. In terms of the election of the new president, there will be a meeting on the 1st of October. We are having a meeting where we've appointed a statutory body or a constitutional body as per our party constitution to deal with this nomination and election process. So people must wait patiently until then, but we will probably make the announcement, I think,
next week
on that Sunday BizNews, that live broadcast, that first Sunday. I think the 1st of October falls on a Wednesday. So
that's right.
That the decision will be taken on the Wednesday, and we will share that information either the next day or on the Sunday. We haven't decided.
Yeah, well, it will be good if we break the news here on Joy Radio on our program Straight Talk. Jacques, if you don't mind, I just want to tell that the listeners that nominations for the new president closes at 12 o'clock this Sunday, where it need to be submitted to the ad hoc committee's secretary. And then by Wednesday next week, those people who have been nominated will be notified that they've been nominated, and then they need to say in writing if they accept the nominations, yea or nay. Then, on the 1st, when the official election process will take place, as per the constitution of a United Independent Movement. And then, as Jacques said, then we will still decide if we can, and hopefully the decision falls the way of the Straight Talk on Joy Radio program, where it will be announced. I hope so. Make sure you tune in next week as well to know. And once again, I just want to express my gratitude for the United Independent Movement to actually for this ad hoc committee who have put it with trust in myself to chair that committee on the election of a new president. So believe me, it will be a fair election. Daar gaan geen gekroekery wees nie. Want my moerkoffie wat ek uitdeel met bliksemstrale is baie sterk. Glo my daai ene.
Ja, prof, laat jy my nou Neil verlang. Ai.
Jacques, en dit sal nie weggaan nie, dit kan nie weggaan nie. Ek meen, dit is nou maar, dit is deel van ons daarie, en dit sal so bly. Jacques, 'n paar woorde van afsluiting, want ek wil vanaand graag, ek wil vir die luisteraars sê, ek wil met 'n liedjie uitspeel vanaand. Want hierdie raak almal van ons, ieder en elkeen van ons. Jy weet, Chris het luisteraars het hy gesê, jy weet, ek is Grieks. Hy's 'n Griekse boertjie. Daar van die baai af. Hy's 'n moslim. Ek is 'n professor in teologie. Nou vra julle, hoekom hierdie twee bymekaar? Glo vir my, daar's geen probleme met enige iemand in die party wanneer dit kom by enigiets nie, want ons staan vir een ding, en dit is vir Suid-Afrika. Vir elke burger in hierdie land staan ons voor. Ons staan vir niks en niemand anders nie. Ons staan nie vir 'n spesifieke geloof nie, en dies meer nie, of 'n spesifieke dominasie nie. Ons staan hier vir die mense, en soos Kurt ook nou gesê het, we are here to serve. En Kurt is ook 'n profeet, en hy's 'n pastoor daar in die Weskaap. So, ons is almal saam, en ons werk na een doel toe. En daarom wil ek vanaand, voor ons afsluit, wil ek uitspeel met hierdie een liedjie, The Battle Belongs. Hierdie geveg behoort aan ons almal. En ons almal. En dit maak nie saak wie jy dien nie. Maar ek weet die God wat ek dien. Ek meen, Neil was baie uitgesproke oor sy Christendom, en ek dink ek is nog meer uitgesproke as wat Neil was. Ek weet, soos ons sê, the battle belongs to God. But God can't fight it alone. We need to fight it with him, with the wisdom what he gives us, and the wisdom what he installs within each and every one of us. Jad, 'n paar afsluitwoorde asseblief.
Thank you, Prof. I'm going to end off in English. I want to tell everybody that I want to invite them to please join us. There are different membership options. You can join as a free member, and if you want to get more involved and you want to serve on one of our platforms as a leader or as a representative or in any official capacity, there's another membership option for you as well. But please, this is an amazing movement. I think people have seen how we reacted to Neil's passing. Yeah, people can see that we loved him dearly. We were all in tears at that funeral on Sunday. We've been in tears on many occasions on some of the broadcasts that we have done, where we had to deliver tributes. It shows you that there's a real, there's heart in this party, heart and soul. There's heart and soul in the UIM. And I don't know of any other party that has this much heart and soul, or if it even exists. We are like a family. We are like one big family. Yes, we fight. Yes, we get upset. We cry. Neil displayed every single human emotion that exists in the last 4 years that he served as our president. That is who we are. That is what we are. We take care of one another. We have each other's backs. We care about the people of South Africa. We want the best for everybody. And people need to join this party. People need to get involved. People need to join this party, become part of something spectacular, become part of a legacy, and become part of history. Because that is what we are doing. We are making history. And people have an opportunity to be a part of this. This is very special. I'm very privileged to be a part of this UIM, to have been a part of it for the last 4 years. It's changed my life. It's an honor. And I think there's a lot of great, wonderful times that lie ahead. And I would like to share those days and those moments with as many people as possible. So reach out to us and join us and get involved and let's grow this family. Thanks, Prof.
Dankie, Jacques. En ja, luisteraars, onthou die ateljee nommer 079-678-0510. Julle kan sommer boodskappe hiernatoe ook stuur as julle wil aansluit in dit en wil deel word of miskien sê maar okay, right, ek wil net bietjie meer weet. Julle is meer as welkom. Of my persoonlike nommer 076-479-7517. Hier vergeet ek my eie nommer. Chris, from your side, thank you very much for joining us on this very short notice this evening. But we definitely, on one of our other programs, you're going to be part from the beginning. And I think that evening we will have you and Irlita together.
Thank you, Chris.
Oh, we will.
Thanks, Prof.
Okay.
Thank you, Prof.
We play out with The Battle Belongs. Remember, the battle belongs to each and every one of us to make a change in this country. And if you're serious, consider the UIM.
When all I see is the battle, you see my victory. When all I see is the mountain, you see a mountain moved. And as I walk through the shadow, your love surrounds me. There's nothing to fear now, for I am safe with you. So when I'll fight on my knees with my heads lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you, and every fear I lay at your feet. I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. And if you are for me, who can be against me? Yeah. For Jesus, there's nothing impossible for you. When all I see are the exits, you see the beauty. Thank you, God. When all I see is the cross, God, you see the empty tomb. So when I'll fight on my knees with my heads lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you, and every fear I lay at your feet. I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. Almighty fortress, you go before us. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. You shine in the shadow, you win every battle. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. In all